I'm Abrielle Millett for BYU-Idaho Radio, and I'm here on the phone with Aaron Ferris. He's the executive director of East Idaho Aquarium about their Shark Week coming up. Aaron, can you tell us a little bit about who you are and kind of your role at the aquarium?
Yeah, I'm the executive director of the East Idaho Aquarium, and I just kind of do whatever is needed at the aquarium. So kind of do it all.
Yeah, that's awesome. I guess how did you get into that? The aquarium is full of animals. Is there like a love for animals, or how did you get introduced to it?
Yeah, that's just when I was a kid, I loved fish, and that was my ultimate goal of something that I wanted to do was to do something with fish. And when I went to school, actually at BYU-Idaho, I saw a need for an aquarium here, so I thought I would build an aquarium in Idaho Falls. So kind of unique.
That is unique. Right here in the cold desert.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a lot of fun. I've seen on the social media for the East Idaho Aquarium that was it a couple months ago that you guys announced that you're expanding the aquarium or you're doing a different one?
Yeah, so when we opened the aquarium where we're at, it was an old movie theater. So it was never anywhere that we wanted to stay permanently. And so it's just something that we've always tried to be open about, saying, hey, we're raising money for another location. And every step along that way, we just share where we're at in that process. And so, yeah, what we shared was our architectural drawings. We've been working with an architect for a new building, so that way people know when they are giving money to a new building, now they know what they are giving to. So, and the next step along that process is for us to find a piece of land to put that on. And so when we find a piece of land and purchase it, we'll make another announcement or posting on social media about the new location of it.
That's super cool. I saw the drawings and they were beautiful, and it seems like that's gonna be an amazing aquarium. Yeah, to add to what the East Idaho Aquarium already has for this Shark Week. I guess I've never really heard that much about a Shark Week, but I've looked up that Shark Week is like something that is kind of sometimes celebrated, every year. So can you tell us a little bit more about Shark Week and kind of what that means for the East Idaho Aquarium?
Yeah, so Shark Week is, I believe it's on the Discovery Channel. I don't watch a lot of TV, but there is a Shark Week that goes on every week where they basically just you learn lots and lots about sharks. And so if you turn on this channel, then you're guaranteed you're going to learn something about sharks. And so they call it Shark Week. They do all sorts of fun things. And so I think it was last year we decided, we have sharks, we should do something. And so we just we asked the community, like, hey, we're gonna celebrate Shark Week. We're gonna learn. There's a whole week dedicated to sharks on this channel. Like, we're gonna learn about sharks too. What should we do? And so yeah, we just kind of came up with a lot of fun things to do. So there'll be like shark feedings. So oftentimes we don't really announce when we're gonna do shark feedings. They just kind of happen. And so that's one thing that'll happen is you'll get to see the sharks eat, which is always really fun because they think they're going to love it. They think it's going to be awesome because they think sharks are going to be crazy, like just going crazy for the food. And it's usually not what they expect because we give them basically regular size pieces of fish that they can eat. And they're just not really sharks. When you watch movies and stuff, you expect them to act that way, and that's usually not how they act in real life. But I mean, we'll also do, it's called Shark School, and last year we had one class, and basically we just do a tour, and we do all sorts of fun things and for kids and to teach them about sharks. And there's like a story time about sharks, and there's crafts about sharks. We do snacks that are shark themed. And this year it was so popular, we actually had to add an additional class on another day. So we're super excited about that. But yeah, we've got coloring contests and just lots of fun games, all themed around sharks and learning about sharks and the importance of sharks. So it's been it was a lot of fun last year, and I think we're going to have even more fun this year as it gains popularity.
It seems like a lot of fun, and why not celebrate when it is something that is at the aquarium, the sharks. Like you said, I think I saw online that you guys have shark selfies, coloring pages, the feedings you said, a scavenger hunt, um, and mermaids. So all those things sound fun. In addition, you said you guys are adding a second class, right, for this year?
That's correct. Yeah. So last year we did one day, and then this year we're going to do 2 days because the first one sold out so fast. And we're actually adding additional people to those classes because we thought a second day, but it filled up pretty fast too. And so we're going to add a couple more people to each of those classes so everybody that wants to participate can have a chance to participate.
Yeah, and you said for the classes they do like a tour. I guess what kind of things will they be doing in there?
Yeah, so the tour is one of our biologists will go through and just kind of give a tour of the entire aquarium. But then, yeah, we do have a little um, classroom, party room. But yeah, they can sit down and they'll get to learn things about sharks. They'll also be one of the lucky students will get to help feed the sharks for that day. So that's always something fun to look forward to. And they'll all get to go up and actually stick their feet in the water of the shark tank, so they can get a different view than normal guests get. So it's a lot of fun.
Something that you said about the feeding is that it's typically different than what people imagine because they're used to movies where the sharks are very aggressive. So what would you say is kind of like, I guess, one of the biggest misconceptions about sharks in general or about the sharks that you guys have at the aquarium?
Most people think that sharks are really mean. They're going to be scared of them. And rightfully so. You should be, especially with what is portrayed. But I think like any predator, we've got bears here in Idaho, but because we can see them, we can give them space and we can respect that space. And sharks, because you can't see them, you don't know, like, is there a shark that is feeding? Is it like, and if you were to see that, you could give it its space. So oftentimes I think when people get attacked by a shark, it's usually accidental. The shark was out hunting and the space wasn't given that was required. And then two, I think people are just thinking they're man eaters when in reality that's not the truth. So like our sharks, we've got one shark, our nurse shark, we actually hand feed her. And you can, like, you go down and you can pet her and give her hugs, and she just mostly sleeps most of the time. So not really dangerous at all. And shark bites from a nurse shark are very rare. And then our black tip reef shark, they, for the most part, they're just constantly swimming, and then they look for smaller fish to eat. And if it's bigger, they will bite it and they'll shred it up. And I think that's the way that they eat. I think people might be afraid of them, but just they don't have a way to chew, and so yeah, they'll bite, and if the fish is too big. So I think a lot of times people are thinking we're going to stick something huge in there and they're going to watch this shark tear it up and rip it up. And oftentimes our sharks are like, well, that's too big, I'm not going to even attempt that. And even in the wild, that's kind of how it is. They get food that is appropriate to their size, so that way they don't have to do a lot of energy. So I've always, when we teach about sharks in the aquarium, we always think, they're kind of like a bear. Like, how many times do you see a bear chasing down deer or elk, or like if it stumbles across a dead one, then yes, it's going to eat it, but it's not going to. Typically, they're going to take the easiest meal, and that's one of the important things about sharks is they usually go after the sick fish or the injured fish, or because it's a lot of energy trying to go after a healthy, live, active fish. And if they do, usually there's multiple sharks and there's a way that they do it. But I think that's one thing that people don't understand. They just think, people go swimming with our sharks and they just, how can you do that? Why are they not? Like, well, sharks just they don't attack. Like, it's a lot of energy to try to do that. And they just, a lot of times, if they don't have to expel that energy, then they're not going to.
That makes sense. I think it's something that is good because like you said, we don't always see sharks. We're probably more likely in Idaho to see a bear than a shark. But it's a good way to learn and educate the public to be able to go and see the sharks that are here and kind of see their nature and kind of how they are. And I mean, there's a ton of species of sharks, so there's even more variety. And I bet each shark has its own kind of personality and kind of what it likes to do. This is a little fun question, but I guess what is your favorite kind of shark?
My favorite kind of shark. Man, I don't know. I think I really like the bonnet head shark. Just one of my. This is like a miniature. It looks like a miniature baby hammerhead shark. So a lot of people, when they see them, they would think, "Oh, it's a hammerhead," but they're just kind of a cute little shark, I think.
My roommate really likes whale sharks, so that's one that I think is also quite cool.
Yeah, they're super cool.
Yeah, I just feel like there's so many sharks, and they all kind of look different. Of all the sea creatures, would you say the shark is most interesting to you, or what? I mean, you said earlier fish was one of your interests.
Yeah, I mean, I love just all fish, and that's to me, a shark is just a big fish. My other little, I mean, they're little, big, but they're they're a type of fish. But I definitely, I think sharks are probably one of the coolest. It's hard for me to. That's one of the reasons I built an aquarium. It's hard for me to just pick one. I like all of them.
Yeah. Do you guys at the aquarium? I guess how often do you guys um pick out or get more animals?
So not very often. We do a lot of rescuing, really. So we not very often do we get new animals. Early on, we did just because we were bringing more animals in to fill our exhibits. But now that they're all established and they're grown and big, there's really no need for us to bring new ones in. So, I mean, I think we are planning on bringing in a few more sharks, hopefully this fall, but we'll see how that. It's never guaranteed.
You just said that a lot of them are rescue efforts. How, I guess, where do your sharks come from?
So typically, our sharks are. A lot of sharks come from the wild still, but the sharks that we're bringing in are actually captive bred. So that's one thing that we always look for is we don't want to take from the wild. One, it's hard on those animals because every shark, right, they come from different parts. And so you have to find what they like to eat and introduce that to them so that way. And we don't, we like wild animals to stay wild and then captive bred ones to be spread around. So we always look for that. So yeah, but typically, like I guess a lot of like our freshwater fish are rescues, things that people buy and can no longer take care of. And so if we've got room for it, then we'll bring it in. And if not, so, and even lately we just have not been able to
Hmm.
bring in a lot of those fish because our exhibits are at max capacity. So
One thing that I noticed about on the website, the eastidahoaquarium.com, is that you have a page kind of about the shark's journey, and it kind of shows you the process of kind of how you acclimate them into their like new environment. And I thought that was really interesting, just because I don't know the process of bringing animals to an aquarium. Um, so I felt like that was very useful and something that people would find interesting, both when they attend the aquarium, but also like looking online and seeing the process that you guys go through to do it.
yeah, that's one of the things I think everybody always asks how do they ship them? And so that's one of the reasons we did that on the website is so we could just pull it up and be like, yeah, here's literally they ship them in big bags and then we pick them up at the airport and acclimate them to their new home. So it's when we start acclimating them, it takes it's 2 or 3 hours process of getting their water to be exactly the same as the water they're going into. So that way the eases the stress of them in their new habitat.
Yeah, that makes sense. One of the things that I thought was cool was just being able to um you have the same temperature and like the same, so that when you move them it's not any different, to not stress the sharks out or anything like that. And so I feel like that's that's really cool to know, just like the process and the care taken into um preparing and helping these sharks adjust. For this, the Shark Week that you guys will be doing is from July 27th to August 1st.
Correct.
Okay. And that's when you guys will be doing your week long, all the fun shark themed activities, and including the feedings. Do you know, you said usually they're not like scheduled, but what time will those feedings be during that week?
Ooh, off the top of my head, I don't know. I'd have to. I know it's posted on there, um, but yeah, that's the one. That week is the one week that we uh, say this is when they're going to get fed, and we go around and let everybody know in the aquarium like, hey, we're getting ready to feed the sharks, and we've got bleachers, and the bleachers are always filled up, so it's it's always fun. And then it's another time, like I said, our nurse shark, who is nocturnal and sleeps for a good portion of their lives. It's one of the few times she's actually active and swimming around, and so it's for everybody who wants to see her active. That's a good time to come see her. Is during Shark Week when we're have those feedings posted.
Yeah, that's awesome. And the aquarium is open um on Mondays and Saturdays from 11 a.m. to 8 p.m.
Yes,
and then on Sundays from 1 p.m. to 6 p.m.
that's correct.
Okay. And where's the East Idaho Aquarium located? Like, do you know the street it's on?
Yeah, it's 570 East Anderson Street. So we're right next to Fred Meyer.
Okay, cool. That's nice to know. This is super exciting. This Shark Week that's coming up, and like you said, this is the second year that you guys will be um participating in and celebrating, right?
That's yeah. Just come on out and learn about sharks during Shark Week.
I'm Abrielle Millett for BYU-Idaho Radio, and I've been here on the phone with Aaron Ferris, and he's the executive director of the East Idaho Aquarium, about their Shark Week that's coming up on July 27th through August 1st. There's a lot of shark-related activities and festivities that are fun for anyone who wants to come and participate. Thank you so much, Aaron, for your time and telling us a little more about the East Idaho Aquarium and some of the events that are coming up. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem.